Good morning. It is freezing cold right now, but I am in the car and driving already because today is the day of the longest drive of the trip so far. 4 hours until where I'm probably going to stop for the night, so got to get going early. I've got 2 planned stops along the way and who knows how many more unplanned stops, so yeah, let's get on with it. Before I left, I took one last walk around the swamp because I mean, how often are you going to be in a swamp? Super cool terrain. Oh, also, before I even finished driving out of the campsite, I saw some kangaroos. So at least there's that finally. Last night, before I went to bed, I saw that the Australian government was planning to put out an advertisement encouraging people to use less fuel by reducing their load and pumping up their tyres and a couple of other things. So before I left today, I pumped up my tyres, freebie, but I've also emptied my water tank. So I had a 40 litre water tank before, but I've now emptied that and I plan to keep that empty for the rest of the trip unless I'm going super remote. So from now on I'll be running off 2 2-litre water bottles, which we'll have to see whether that's practical or not, but hopefully it will at least reduce fuel and do something. I considered whether or not I should just be stopping the trip, but for now, with the state of things, it seems fine. Maybe if it gets worse, we'll have to reconsider. And the other thing is I might have to get rid of some of my gear, or so maybe find a charity shop or something like that, and just do that so that I'm reducing my load more. But otherwise, I'll just keep doing the same stuff, you know, cycling or walking wherever I can so that I'm not doing small journeys, and try to drive more economically, I guess. From what I've seen from the signs, this area is actually koala habitat. So if you look in the tops of the eucalyptus trees, you might see some koalas chilling around. I think they actually sleep something like 18 hours a day. So the chances of you managing to spot one kind of camouflaged in these trees is just slim to none. The other thing that's quite cool about koalas, well, other than the whole chlamydia thing, which is a bit weird, I'll leave you to find out about that yourself, is that they actually survive off of the eucalyptus leaves, which are poisonous. I believe they contain cyanide. So, and they survive off of eating them, and they eat an absurd amount, and then they sleep. So, maybe that's the life. Eating poison and sleeping. I guess that's just alcoholism, really. But drinking poison. Anyway, still another half an hour, 40 minutes left, so I'll see you in a bit. Alright, we've been driving for a little bit over an hour and we are now about 10 minutes away from our first stop, which is Mudgee. So historically Mudgee is known for, I think best, its role in the kind of the gold rush. And while gold was discovered in Mudgee, that's not actually why it's most significant. It was significant as a regional hub for the surrounding areas where gold was found, like Sofala, like I forgot what the name is, which is, spoiler alert, the next stop. Anyway, and also down towards Bathurst and those surrounding areas. So yeah, this was kind of the connecting point for all of the prospectors in those areas. So in the surrounding areas, you can actually still see And even in Mudgee as well, you can still see this kind of gold rush heritage. So in Gulgong you can still do a gold panning experience, which is where you actually get to do the panning yourself, and kind of get toured of the area and its significance. But unfortunately that's open 5 days a week, and the 2 days that it isn't open are Monday and Tuesday. Guess what day it is today? Monday. So yeah, we can't do that, but there's still a lot to explore, a lot of museums, history, kind of the pioneering history, but also now this region entirely, Mudgee and the surrounding areas, is just full of wineries and breweries. And the beautiful thing about this area is it's not just big names, it's people who are passionate about creating something. So they've, you know, decided they wanted to create their own brewery or their own winery, and you just get this experience of all these different people's passions, which is something you don't get as much in the kind of more built up city-ish areas, which is something special to explore. My first stop in Mudgee was the information centre. As always, I came out much more knowledgeable as I went in, but this time most of my knowledge was actually about the surrounding areas rather than Mudgee itself. That might give you a hint about where we might be headed next. Not today, but the next couple of days. The only thing I actually learnt about Mudgee was about the place that I already intended to go, which was the Mudgee Museum. It has kind of all different stuff about Mudgee's history. I was right about the gold stuff, and they did have some stuff about the gold history, the hand tools, the panning tools, how they stored the gold, how they moved it, all that. But they also just had an absurd amount of other history, and just a ridiculous amount of, and I say this in the most respectful way possible, but an absurd amount of incredibly creepy stuff. They had these exhibits set up that were like an old church or an old schoolroom or a dressing room or a hospital. But because they couldn't have people in there, obviously, they had these dolls. And as you walked in, you just had all of these dolls just staring at you. And I'm not someone who's normally creeped out by dolls, but I don't know what it was about these ones. Oh, and it was the lights as well. The lights were what did it also. So you're walking into these rooms, and the floor itself is a little bit uneven, a little bit creaky because it's the original floor of the building, and the building's quite old. And you walk in, and the lights are on a sensor, so it's quite dark at first, and you walk along, and then you hear the click of the lights, and then the lights come on, and you just see all the eyes of these dolls just staring at you. So, yeah, super cool, incredible history. If I had more time, I could have spent hours and hours there, but also super creepy. After I finished in the museum, I took a quick walk around town, and you can kind of see just how old the area is and how willing they were to preserve it, because all of the buildings look hundreds of years old, and they had all the new stuff fitting into the buildings as well as the churches and the town hall and old police station and everything. Incredible little town. I've made lunch now, meatball sandwich. I also dropped it on my shirt immediately as soon as I finished making it and lost some of the meatballs, so that's why my white shirt's looking even less white than normal. But I'm gonna eat this and then we'll head to Gulgong. Gulgong. I don't know whether I'm saying that right. More gold history, more cool things to see. The first thing that caught my attention in Gulgong was the Pioneer Museum, which is just absolutely full to the brim of items and memorabilia and pieces of history from Australia's post-colonial history. While I was in there, I probably took enough footage to make a 2-hour video. It's just absurd, the amount of stuff that is in there. I think the best way to describe the place is by what I was saying the whole time I was walking through, which is, how do you even acquire this much stuff? It was extraordinary. You had different rooms set up like different historical places, like what their doctors looked like, or it even had the guns that they used back then, or it had the typewriters, or the farming equipment, or the mining equipment, or a sweet shop. It's just extraordinary. I'm trying to think about the things now, and I'll watch back the footage later and I'll think there was just so much more than I'm even thinking of now. It's incredible. And the other thing is that when I was in there's a pottery fair going on there at the moment as well, which meant that the place was absolutely full to the brim. And on top of all the historic exhibits, they had pottery exhibits, which was cool to see as well. The second place that caught my interest was the Holtermann Museum. Now, I didn't actually know anything about Holtermann going in, but I just saw it was related to this town's gold history, and I thought, why not? It's known for the gold. Holtermann was a German settler in Australia who found the largest ever single nugget of reef gold. Its gross weight was 285 kilos, and the gold weight was 93.2 kilos. So it was 145 centimeters, or 4'9" tall, and 66 centimeters wide, or 2'2", with an average depth of 4 inches. Just absurdly large. And with all the conflict that's going on in the world at the moment, it's currently worth $21 million. Obscene. The museum itself is set up in one of the old buildings that was here during this gold rush. But more importantly, or more to Holtermann's story anyway, was that he set off on an ambitious project with 2 photographers to take photos of the area and kind of stimulate people to want to come to Australia with this example of the gold and other gold that he found. But the problem was, this is 1850s, so they don't have photography like we have now. So they're using wet photography and glass photography. And the photo itself is the size of the plate that it's taken on. They couldn't enlarge the photo, so they had to get these extraordinarily large plates to take these photos so that they could have large enough photos to market them. It's described as one of the most ambitious photography projects of that century. At the back of the museum, they also had an exhibit which was acknowledging the women of the gold mines and kind of their role that often gets overlooked in history.
They were versatile and took up many different occupations. Mother, midwife, carer, cleaner, cook, housekeeper, childminder, educator, nurse, shopkeeper, entertainer, entrepreneur. They were the backbone of the goldfields and kept the community functioning. They had no vote, no rights, and very little historical recognition. So at last, the light shines on them and their endeavours.
Overall, incredibly rich history, incredible stuff to see, and I could spend hours talking about it. I think the most beautiful thing about a place like this is talking to the volunteers, the people who work there, and just hearing the stories. Because we were looking at the photos, and she said, and this is this person, and they did this, and they migrated over, and this is their history, and we had their grandson come over, and he told us that this is why they migrated. It's just extraordinary. There's so much history that's easily lost. Anyway, back on track. So now we're hitting the road again, and we've got about 2 hours to get to the campsite. I'm not sure whether I'll stop on the way. I don't have anything planned, but as always, something normally happens. Maybe I'll see something nice, or who knows what. So, back on the road again. See you in a bit. Alright, we just made it to the campsite. I just filled up my two water bottles as well, good as new. The tap itself had a hilariously high amount of water pressure because I imagine it's meant for connecting a hose and using, so it was kind of hard to fill them up, but job's done. Now we're just settling in it for the night, I guess. I'm walking around at the moment to kind of stretch my legs. I mean, look at the sunset, it's beautiful. Even that drive was beautiful that whole way as well. The region I'm in at the moment is known as the Hunter Valley, which is typically known for its wine production again. But yeah, I'm not going to be stopping at any wineries or anything or doing any wine tasting. Just enjoying the scenery. I'd imagine you probably see a lot of kangaroos around here as well. There was definitely a lot of roadkill, unfortunately. Anyway, yeah, longest drive so far, wasn't too bad. I am tired though, but I think that's more to do with how busy this week has been. But that's 7 days done, first week. Pretty successful week overall. I'm not gonna lie, at the start of the week I was kind of like, this is a weird decision. I don't know what I've done here. But no, it's definitely built into it, and it's been an incredible journey. I hope it's as fun to watch back as it is to do, because it is unreal. There's so much I'm looking forward to. I just booked the campsite for tomorrow, another nice one, but it's more to do with its functionality than the actual spot, so you'll have to wait and see what that's like. Probably another long drive tomorrow, and then another few days of quite long drives, because now, as I've said, I'm heading up the coast itself, and that means more busy life, I guess, because it's more developed area. You can hear all the birds. It looks like also there's some sort of back burning going on, which I think you could see in one of the videos. Hopefully it's back burning and not an actual bushfire. I'll look at the fires app. I think tonight... Oh, also, yeah, tonight is the final night of meatball subs for dinner. And that means I can settle down nice and easy. I think I'm going to get working on one of my side quests, maybe the soccer, maybe the chess. I'm not too sure. I'll let you have a look either way. But otherwise, yeah, as you'll see, I didn't actually take too many photos on my digital camera today because I just took so many photos and videos on this camera because there was just so much to see. I could have taken 1 billion photos today. Alright, all settled up and into the car. The spot we're in tonight is actually in Jerry's Plains, and I chose here for 2 reasons. Firstly, because it's kind of on the way between where I was and where I want to be for the rest of the trip. And secondly, because it's just a cool name. It's Jerry's Plains, but it's not like Jerry's as in belonging to Jerry with an apostrophe. It's just Jerry's, Jerrys, Plain. So yeah, and the spot is beautiful. The view out of the windscreen is just of the Hunter Valley, which is incredible. That'll be nice to wake up to tomorrow. I need to plan where I'm going to go because I know where I'm staying tomorrow night, but beyond that I have no clue whatsoever. And the problem with being on the coast is that there's not as many free campsites, and I'm not at a point in the trip where I'm like, screw it, let's just stealth camp somewhere, especially because I'm recording. No, scrap that. I would never do that. So yeah, that's the other thing. Spoiler for tomorrow, we're going to the coast, which is everyone's dream of Australia, everyone's image of Australia, hot weather and the beach. So that should be fun. For now, yeah, I do need to plan, but before I do that, like I said, I'm going to play chess. But because I don't have much time, I'm going to play 10 games of Bullet, and I'll show you the best one, and then you can guess what ranking I am. So 1 minute Bullet, 10 games. I'll get back to you when I'm done. Not going to lie, I played 1 game of chess, got distracted, and then just started planning out where I want to go next. So I actually have, for the first time ever, a decent plan for the next few days. Nothing set in stone, but just like of where I could possibly go. So yeah, I've got today, tomorrow, which are both set in stone, obviously. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 potential spots in a row, which could be the next 7 days. I don't know. It could change at all. So I'm not going to show you, obviously. You thought for a second. But yeah, chess got put off. I did actually start learning another opening. I think that's actually how I will improve, not just playing games, because I'm not learning anything from playing games, especially bullet games. That's like ultimately not, like the ultimate way not to learn. So I'm going to learn some openings, but I want to do something interesting and something that doesn't get played much, because I feel like all of my games are e4, e5, and then some form of 4 knights or Italian or something. So maybe an English opening. I learnt the Evans Gambit the other day, which was fun, but also very specific, probably won't arise in most games. But if you play the English, then it will always be the English. So, well, obviously it can develop into other things. But yeah, that's at least me making some progress on a side quest. I know I've been a bit lazy so far, other than doing stupid stuff, because that one's the easiest. I haven't done many of the side quests, but trust me, I'll get onto it. In the meantime, I'll send you off for the photo of the day and say goodnight. Peace. As I said earlier, I could have taken 1,000 photos today, but I only ended up taking 8, which just meant that every single one that I did take had something very important to say. And there was one that stood out in particular, and that was this. It's from a newspaper extract from the end of World War II of a soldier proclaiming peace. And I think that's just such a powerful message as a proclamation. And it's no less significant today than it was then, really. Perhaps not as a proclamation, but more so as a call to action, a call for peace. And I guess that's always relevant, but somehow at the moment it feels more relevant than ever. And so that's it. Nice and short, nice and simple. Number 7, peace. I'm really torn about where to put this one, to be honest, because what message is more important than peace, really? But also, is it as personal a message to me as some of the others? And somehow there's something beautifully ironic about me underrating this image, which is why I'm comfortable enough to put it in 6th. I mean, what is peace if not undervalued?